I have faith that the Constitution will be saved as prophesied by Joseph Smith. But it will not be saved in Washington.
This is not the church of Joseph Smith.
All right, Travis Wayne Goodsell. It's the time now for the Utah Mormon news update. Chaos reigns supreme. So we've got a contradiction going on here. We've got ABC 4 News COVID-19 special, April 27. Except that it's contrasted with 20 hours ago with a mental health tips during social isolation. So again, you can see that ABC4 News Utah are still promoting mental health care during all this. And I don't know if you're catching on. If you saw the movie The Shining during your coronavirus isolation, I don't understand how people go crazy being isolated. I've been isolated my whole life. I'm just fine. And though the church wants to have me murdered, it's the church who's not fine. They're the ones with red rum on the brain. And so, yeah, mental health care are not mental health care professionals. All they do is assign blame to you as the victim. Do you not understand that? Okay, let's do some hypothetical examples. Your husband beats you, and you choose not to leave him because you're a Mormon and divorce is bad. And so you get mental health counseling after cops blow him away with a call from a neighbor. And so now you're distraught, you think your life is over, your eternal exaltation's in jeopardy, you have to figure out how to get a job and get money to support the kids, etc., etc. And so you're forced into mental health therapy. The therapist will tell you that it's your fault. Now, how would I know this? My aunt, she married my brother's brother, my dad's brother, sisters, cousins, uncles, nephews, dogs, cousin. He decided he wanted to be gay. Yes, he decided. So I'm sorry, those of you who have the LGBT who are body shaming yourselves, and that's what you're doing. He decided he wanted to be gay, and he abandoned his marriage and of 3 girls. Barbie doll wife, 3 girls, all destined to be Barbie dolls themselves. He just abandoned them, says, I'm gay. And why did he think that he was gay? Oh, when I was growing up, I didn't want to work on the farm with my older brother and dad. I wanted to stay home with mom and cook and clean. Yeah, and so he's anti-Mormon, LDS critic, and was all into Sunstone. And, oh yeah, wow, cool. They accept me. And so my aunt, my husband turned gay and left me. I now have to take care of the kids. So she has to go in and see her bishop. And the bishop says, hey, the church has a policy that you need to get help from your family before coming to the church. No, it doesn't say that in Scripture. I've gone over that video. And he said that I'm going to cut you off from all assistance and take away your recommend if you don't get over it and move on with your life. Yeah. So that's what mental health therapy does. This was a bishop, not a mental health care professional, but they do the same thing. I see them all over the place. I see ABC4 News perpetuating it. I see it across America. Gun violence in schools. They send the mental health care professionals in there to tell them to get over it. Move on with your life. Forgive and forget. Hey, wait a minute. That's supposed to be Christian religion, where we allow people to abuse and destroy our lives, and we just forgive and forget them. Yeah, I refer you to The Simpsons, which reminds me they had an episode this last Sunday where a new preacher from Michigan came to town and got Reverend Lovejoy kicked out of his parish that he's been there the whole time for. And the new preacher guy, he gets up and presents a whole new God, just like Nelson did in conference. A whole new doctrine, a whole new God. And the whole town fell for it. And that was the hilarious part that I don't think anybody caught from that episode. He was suckering in all sorts of people, even Lisa. It's like, oh yeah, I'm Buddhist. What a con man. And so, yeah, it was... Simpsons are brilliant. But when you... the mental health people telling you to get over it during coronavirus, you know, people have lost their jobs, they're stuck at home, they're with their kids, the kids can't be educated, the kids aren't trained as to how to educate their kids, and they can't buy food because they've lost their job. And bills keep piling up because everybody still wants money during this coronavirus, rather than saying, you know what, this is a national emergency. I think we need to put our economy on hold until all this is over, and then we'll most likely have to redo our economy to something else that will be a little more efficient and effective in preventing this kind of incident from ever happening again. But no. They want to stick with the system they have. So everybody wants money and is taking advantage of people. As food insecurity gets greater and greater as each passing hour goes by. And so, enter ABC4 News COVID-19 special April 27. They're blaming you now for the condition. It's supposed to be preparation versus fear, or something like panic. Preparation versus panic. We can't prepare for coronavirus anymore. It's too late to prepare. But notice the wording. Preparation versus panic. We didn't get to prepare. Our government, our religion, our economy wouldn't let us prepare. All we have now is panic, and we see it in the news. People getting shot, murdered, murder, death, kill, John Spartan. And they're now doing a regular, some unorthodox suggestions for streaming. That's their news now. Streaming ideas while you're stuck at home. As your life is crumbling around you, here's a distraction. Watch some streaming videos until you can't pay for your streaming service, whether it's cable or satellite or dish or whatever. they cover the food and saying you need to buy the right kinds of food during coronavirus. Oh, really? Are you going to tell us what we're going to do, and then we're just going to obey you, Mr. ABC 4 News Utah reporter? That's what they do. They tell you how to live your life. They tell you what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. Preparation versus panic. It's through those coded wording. And people who watch this channel go, oh yeah, I need to be prepared. I need to be socially responsible. And I need to obey our governor and the Mormon leader. They know how to play it. So do the mental health care professionals here in Utah. They know how to play it. You have a woman with her hand over her head. She's distraught. And so, they've got the mental health care. Oh, those women, those are hysterical women. See, women get upset when we men say, is it that time of the month? But when a healthcare professional calls a woman crazy, do the women get mad at him? If they do, they get drugged and sedated. I want to be sedated. And so this is the crisis we're facing. This is the news and how they're responding to it. This is our government and how they're responding to it. We have the Utah courts. Apparently they're going through the month of May to quarantine, which is isolation, not quarantine. So the federal courts are not doing that yet, as I have my case with the church. The ACLU has filed a lawsuit to free the prisoners. Everybody who's locked up, they want freed during coronavirus. And of course, the Salt Lake County Attorney General is saying, we've had our lowest numbers of incarceration since 1983. And why is that, Sim Gill? Why is that? Will you please explain to the audience, why is it that the jails aren't as full as they used to be? Could it have anything to do with the mental health courts and the drug courts? Where? Exactly. They're the homeless people now. You've kicked them out of the jails. They're now on the streets. But it still does not change the fact that anybody who's in a public place, and a jail is a public place, the general population is what they call the least restrictive area, they can get coronavirus, either through visitors, if they still allow visitors, or through the guards who spread it around. ABC 4 News Utah several weeks back already did an article about the police spreading the virus throughout the valley as they're on patrol, handing out coronavirus one by one. And so here they're having little memorials of the class of 2020, and I ran into a whoops. I saw the picture of the woman. I thought she was a woman, an older, mature woman, and then I'm realizing as I'm watching the video, wait a minute, she's saying she's a senior from high school? Uh-oh. Jailbait alert. Jailbait alert. And so, yeah. Something in the water here in Utah that makes these jailbait girls seem a lot older than they are. So does smoking. Stay away from smoking, it ages you. And then they're doing a repeat of the West Jordan murder of the Mormon couple because the guy didn't want to hire this other guy during coronavirus at his landscaping job. And so they're again showing the picture of how the cops beat the hell out of the guy. Yay, promoting bullying behavior in Utah. That's great. Alrighty, so that's your news update for today. They're still trying to open up. What will Utah look like under a soft reopening? Don't open. We need to be cured. We need it eradicated first before we can go back to normal. We have to think in terms of a new economic system. And nobody wants to do that. And it's not because they can't. They all know that there's different types of economic systems. They complain about communism all the time. But there's barter, trade, the one we have, and then there's capitalism, completely different from what we have. And then there's the Mormon law of consecration. Why don't we try that in Utah? That would be a great idea, wouldn't it, Mormons? We can implement the law of consecration and show the world how to do things. Yeah, no, that ain't going to happen. Why? Because the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is not the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They're a fraud. They murdered Joseph Smith and took over. They have no keys. Just mention translation, for example. What keys of translation has Brigham through Nelson produced? Oh, right. We had the R.C. Webb of Heber J. Grant published his book, which turned out to not really be much of a defense. And then we had David O. McKay, who passed off the papyra to Hugh Nibley, who himself could not translate it and had to pass it off to other real Egyptologists. And that was a big embarrassment for the church, as Egyptologists said, no, there's no Hebrew in this Egyptian document. Duh. And so, yeah, and that's why they're trying to murder me, is because I come along, happy Mormon, oh, the church is true, this is awesome, I belong to the true church, and we're going to find out after we're dead which church is true. Can't remember the guy's name. I remember on the street corner there, getting into an argument with him as he said, I can't drink coffee, and I said, I don't care, I don't like coffee. I walk past the aisles in the grocery store, it's gross. And he's laughing at me, oh, you can't drink coffee. Oh, yeah, I'm real put out by that, oh man. And apparently he had watched God Makers, and it was just one, two hadn't come out yet. Yeah, that's what we ended on, is we'll find out when we're dead. Okay, yes we will. And he went his way, I went my way. And that was a waste of time. So, yeah. So I became a translator to show to the world and help the church by showing that Joseph Smith was a translator and actually did it, having deciphered Paleo-Hebrew, having deciphered Egyptian petroglyphs, and discovering that the Bible came from the various translation levels of the petroglyphs. And the church destroyed my life, and here I am. So, yay. And apparently there was a social distancing parade, I'm looking. No, you guys are too close together. Who was it that did I think it was Chris Hayes on his show last week. I believe it was, it was last week. He showed people how if they don't have a mask, they cough or sneeze up to 12 feet. This whole 6-foot distance is not enough. So, we're all doomed.